Alright, so I take off from the farmhouse. The objective was to go to the big mountain where those towers are, and that little mountain was my reference point to try to stay straight. But right now I'm just flying out a little bit just to make sure my arrow's good and everything's going good. This will be the furthest I've ever gone, because where I live, I mean, there's nowhere I can go very far. There's no open field because you always end up behind trees. I mean, that I've seen so far. So now I'm just turning around to make sure the arrow's pointed in the right direction. You know, compass is working and everything. This has iNav, so I just wanted to make sure it's pointing in the right direction. So I head back to the farmhouse. Everything seems to be working. I wanted to make sure if I need to return to home, I have returned to home, because I had to stay in that small window between the two hills. Yeah, they had farms. They had horses here and stuff. Alright, so now we go back out again. And we took off at pretty much a full battery, 4 volts to 4.1 volts a cell. It's a 4S Li-ion battery. I usually get 33 minutes, 34 minutes on this battery, depending on how I'm flying, as long as I'm not, you know, going really fast. So I knew a time frame. I knew I had plenty of time to get out there and get back. I can go out there and come back like 2 or 3 times, really, if everything went perfect and I wanted to. So I made the mistake here. I start following this road, thinking, oh, okay, I'll follow the road up a little. It's kind of a reference point, you know. So now I start to lose signal because I'm going behind the hill. So I started to follow the road, then I went toward the hill a little bit to the right. I'm like a little too far right now, even though I'm still not being blocked in that reception. I'm definitely too far right, because if you looked in the beginning, I was supposed to be in the direction where going toward the fire towers up there, those Wi-Fi towers. So I'm losing reception like a moron. I turn around, realize that I'm too far over, can't see crap, have to head back. I have the 5130 props on. This flight I did without any camera on it because I was supposed to go back out and do more flights. I still had a 6S line I could have took and another 4S I had charged, but I just never got to take it back out. I had other drones I was playing with and testing too. So now here I move over more left to go try again. And also there was a lake over there I thought looked like a penis. To the left there. You can see it to the left. I thought that looked like a penis. I don't think I get a close look in this video. It was with my other drone that I went over there and got a look at it. Or another flight. I'm trying to go nice and slow to make sure I don't veer off left or right and lose reception. But I'm pretty much supposed to head to the right of that little line you see on the first mountain hill. so that I make sure I stay above those two hills. And as long as I stay at the top edge of that, I shouldn't be too low. I mean, the ground comes up here, so I'm not too high in altitude. I looked on the terrain map. Oh my god, I never changed my RSSI bar to say RSSI. It says RPM still. This is the layout stuff I use for when I race my car and I overlay gauges. I forgot to change the one that it still says RPM. That's supposed to be RSSI on the top right. But I mean, it's still at 25 milliwatts, and I'm a mile out already. Or more than a mile out. The top of that hill I'm getting to is 1.6 miles. So I make it 1.5 to 1.6 miles when I get to the top of that hill. It's got dual diversity, but both antennas show the exact same dBi constantly, always, never even one apart. So I don't think Crossfire actually reports both antennas. Here we are getting to the top of the hill, little road. Now you don't see it here, but on the DJI, my megabytes a second was going crazy. It started going down 20, 15. It was bouncing up and down. It would go back up to 20, down to 7, down to 5. It went down to like 0. On here you don't see like any blurs or nothing, but I was watching my megabytes per second go up and down and hitting 5 and 0, and I was just like, you know what? I was like, let me just turn around and check it and make sure, you know, I am in the middle of the hill. So I'm like, you know what? Let me turn around. And I turned too far. I started going toward the sun. For some reason I thought the sun was over the house. So technically I'm supposed to be where that little V is, to the right of the sun. That open field over there to the right. I'm going too far left. I thought if anything I'd see the road and follow the road. I was just going toward the sun. This actually looks better than when it looked in my goggles though. And here's where I start to realize I'm going too far left. This isn't right. Maybe now. Now? Yeah, now. Yeah, there's the video. And the video cut out. So I lost video for like 2 minutes 30 seconds. See, we're at like 10 minutes 50 seconds now. I went all the way like back to the house almost, and then I started turning around going back out. This time, whatever reason, the megabytes per second didn't drop as much. For some reason, when I get close to the top of that hill, it goes from 45, 50 megabytes per second, and then instantly starts tanking down to 20 and less. I don't know if it's because of those Wi-Fi antennas up there, if they're pointed this direction, and when I just get too close, you know, it starts to drop drastically. But it's like as soon as you get to that hill, it just starts to drop drastically. I think I was at 50 megabytes per second until I get close to that hill, and then it just instantly starts tanking. I never got a chance to, but then I was thinking about even moving to the right and see if I can get an angle, take off, you know, stand somewhere to the right where my car was or something, and see if I can angle toward that real high hill to the left and go out that way. But I never tried it. Didn't do any more flights out far after this. I had other drones to fly and test. The girlfriend being annoying back there. talking about back there. I mean, this time it did better. The megabytes didn't go as low as it did the first flight, like I said, but still it was dropping quick. Last time it just kept going 30, 15, 25, 20, 0. This time I turned back a little earlier, even though megabytes were still doing good. They started dropping down from the start of the hills to when I got close to the top. It went from like 45 down to, I think it was 20, 25. So I turn around and start going back. I don't think I'm going the right way this time either. It is very confusing which way is back. Like throttle at. I think that's like what, 40%? 1024 is 50% throttle, so that's what, 40%? Less than 40%. The RSI and the Crossfire was great. That definitely didn't get affected at all by anything, but it was just my DJI video getting affected. And then I wanted to send the Explorer out there, but I didn't get a chance to do that either. You know, it's supposed to be a trip for me, the girlfriend, and the dog, so I didn't want to just spend the whole time just flying the drone. Like you can see here, I went out kind of late because we were out, and then I got back. So now the battery is at I think half empty, and it starts to go quicker when it starts to get lower since you're using more throttle and stuff. So I don't make another trip out there. I go out like halfway, explore around a little, but I don't want to make another trip out there because sometimes we hit return to home. At least before I made changes, iNav would come back at like 6 miles an hour, 10 miles an hour or less. I think it was 7 miles an hour, 5 to 7 miles an hour iNav return to home at. So you go out far and it would take a long time for it to come back. I mean, just figure you're out 2 miles and it does 5 miles an hour to come back. You know, it's gonna take, you know, what, 20 minutes to get back. So I didn't want to do it. I think at this point I already upped it and fixed it, and I think it comes back at like 20 miles an hour now. I think I set it, but so this way you can get back quicker. But still, I didn't want to chance it. Once it got to half battery, I didn't want to chance it again. Have to hit return to home and wait for it to come back. I forget how far this hill is, but it's at LQ2 25 milliwatts. It holds till it gets to that hill, which I think was 300 meters, 350 meters. Ah, puppy. The dog is very demanding. She's a husky. You've probably seen her in my other videos crying at the door and stuff. Oh, there goes the power going up 250. Because it's on 2. It's not going down to 1, so it's jumping up to 100 milliwatts and 250. Now it went to 1. And if you go sideways, you get dead point to dead point. You can see the RSI DBI go up to like 99 at times when you have no point to no point. But I have the antenna in the front now vertical and the antenna in the back horizontal. So it shouldn't have that no point, but it still reads the exact same number all the time. That's why I said I think it only reads one antenna, which I think the back antenna is the priority. It doesn't show what the vertical one's doing. But I mean, I just leave it be. I don't want to test anymore. I didn't want to write Crossfire about it and ask them. I was like, you know what? It's never fail safe. Even when I've locked it at 25 and not have it go up higher, because it goes up higher quick before it's ever gonna fail. Even when I locked it at 25, I went out, I think it was like a half a mile, and it was still like great. And you can see here, it stayed at 25 and 1 for like a mile out. I think a mile and a half out, it was still at 25. Yeah, I'm just exploring, seeing what's out there. I saw a little road on that little mountain hill. And you can see there's a little house there. I just wanted to explore. But I also didn't want to fly too fast and aggressive because I was also checking. This is the first time I used the 4S Lion after making changes and tune and stuff. I wanted to see how long it would fly for. So you can see those houses up there. Talk about secluded and nice. That house is up there on the top of the hill. No one else around, secluded. I was so trying to talk the girlfriend into moving to Tennessee. Like, how nice is this? But she's like so worried about not having neighbors. Like, if she's got to scream for help or something. I'm like, why did we buy so many guns for you if you need a neighbor to run a quarter of a mile to your house or whatever? Because even other places we live where she thought was fine, still, you know, the neighbors are a little far away. I don't know, 100 yards or whatever. I started checking out this hill because I knew that there was a shed or something I saw on this hill, and I was trying to find it again, but I don't want to go too fast. I was trying to hold like 18 miles an hour full supply, even though coming back at times I was doing 30 or whatever, but I figured I was going on a down angle, so it was fine. It wasn't using any more energy, it was just losing altitude, and more thrust was pushing it forward than down. And that's another house there, and there was horses and everything. Like all these fields, they had horses on, they had goats. It was so nice. But if the horses were out, I would avoid this field here, and I would go around it, you know, just not to bother them. That's why sometimes I like flying my real little ones, because the animals pay no mind to it. Even the deer that are so skittish, my little bitty whoop drones, I can get semi-close. They just steer at it, and then when it gets within like 10 feet or so, then they'll run away. The cats around here chase my drone and try to attack it when I have the little whoop out. My dog bumps it with her nose or bites it. Is this the flight where I go see the penis lake? No, I think it was another one. I think it was when I took the lipo out, or another flight. I went to look at that, but I don't even have the video. I think to those other flights. Oh, I'm going a little fast. That is why I'm killing flight time, because I'm doing 30 at one point, 20 something at one point, going up to 1,000 feet, back down to 300, back up to 1,000, back down. I think I killed a lot of battery doing that, and not just staying straight altitude, cruising at 18 miles an hour. I think about 18 miles an hour gets the best flight time. Look at the house again. We're at 1,000 milliamps. I don't know how accurate that is, but it looks like we're half a battery. I don't have my glasses on. I can't quite read these fucking numbers. I don't know if you'll be able to read them any better. There we go. We're at 13.3 volts. So usually 13.2 volts gets me about 22-23 minutes. And my flight times are normally 33-34 minutes with the 4S Lion. So let's see when it cracks to 31. Let's see when it cracks to 13.1. Oh yeah, that's the penis lake there. Yeah, we just passed it. I wasn't paying attention, I was looking at the battery. My girlfriend didn't see it at first. Then she kind of noticed it, and she's like, "You're so stupid." Yeah, okay, so it's at 13.2. No, 13.3 again. Going a little fast. So 13.2, and it's gonna hit 23. Yeah, so it's gonna hit 23. It's at 13.2. And we're going a little faster than we're supposed to be going for best flight time. We're at 23. I really should have flew the 6S again. And I even have a 6S 2P that I really want to try, because I'm like, the Explorer LR, when you first take off, hovers at like, I think it's like 40% throttle with the lithium ion. And at the end of the battery, it's hovering at 63-64% throttle when you come in with the Explorer LR. Whereas this one, when I come in with the 6S Lion 1P 3000 milliamps, it's hovering when you take off at like 30-something%, and then it comes in at like, I think 40-something%. I mean, the 4S is at 56%. Still looks better than the Explorer. But the 6S comes in, I think, at like 40-something% at the end of the battery. And so I'm wondering, another 300 grams, it might be at like 60% throttle at the end of the battery, but it's still like better than what the Explorer is flying at. So I think it could fly the battery. The problem is the battery doesn't fit on it very well. So the battery doesn't mount down like good. You can't mount it the long way because it hits the antenna. So it feels like you can't really cinch it down. And if you turn it the long way, it's out really wide far. And it feels like it might not be stable. I'm not sure. I've yet to test it. I haven't even put it on and try to just hover it. But I really do want to check, because with that battery, you should, since the 1P is 30 amps, the 2P should be 60 amps. So you get a lot more amps out of the battery, you know, for 300 grams more. So the drone's 221 with the 300 gram battery, that makes it 525. So you add another 300 grams, and actually it's not even another 300 grams, it's less than that, but you add another 300 grams, you're adding more than 50% of the weight, and it's up to 800. But that's not unheard of for a 5-inch, 800 gram all up weight. I mean, there's guys putting the Hero 9 on this with the 1P, and that's another 150 grams, so it's like 150 grams more. And put the 5130 props on there, so it's more lifting power. At 50% throttle, the 5130s give you an extra, I think it was 50 grams or 80 grams, 60 grams per prop thrust. So, and it gives you an extra 240 grams of thrust with the 5130s at 50% throttle. I think it was on the prop chart. I have to look it up again, really. But so I think it's totally doable, and I'm totally tempted to try it. Here I'm flying with the 5130s on this video. This isn't the efficient props, because I was supposed to put a GoPro on this. After this test flight here that I'm doing, this is supposed to be a test flight, I was supposed to go back out with the 6S and a GoPro with the 5130s, and then I never did it. I put the 5125s on to test for somebody, and I never got a chance to test it. Or he was curious if the 5125s get a long flight time, and from all my data logging of battery charts, it does. It gets a little longer flight time, the 5125. The bi-blades, I don't know, when I did the bi-blades, it was on a different tune, and I thought those would have the longest flight time, but it didn't really seem like it. Didn't really seem much different, so I don't know. I thought the bi-blade would have the longest flight time, but it didn't seem to work out that way. I'm going to test it now that I got a better tune. I did a whole bunch of flights with the 4S. I did a I did one with a 6S, got 40 minutes. I did two with the 4S, got the same 34 minutes, 34 minutes I did before, but I am going faster than I'm supposed to. When I did that 6S flight, I kept it at pretty much 18 miles an hour, tried to keep the same altitude and turn very slowly. No sharp turns, just smooth, like, you know, like in a car. Just be real smooth, try to get the best time. I need to do that again. Maybe with the bi-blades on, I try that. It'd be very smooth. Maybe then, you know, I can get a, maybe I can beat the 40 minutes with the bi-blades. But I mean, looking at motor test data logging, the 5125s put down as the highest efficiency, and the bi-blades and 5130s are kind of equal, but the 5125s seem to have the highest efficiency. So I know that always confuse me. The bi-blades supposed to be the ones with the most efficiency, but in all the motor testing, it's not. And on these weak motors, you think the lighter weight would definitely be the most efficient, because these heavier props, you know, just harder to spin. Oh, there goes that shed. Yeah, I was looking at that. There's a road that goes up there, and there's some kind of shed with, you know, equipment in there. But it's weird. It must be all the same people that own this farmland that have that shed up there. But it's like way up there, up in the mountain. Like, I don't know what that equipment and stuff is like there for. Way up there. Like, I mean, it's nice to keep it out of the way and secluded. Maybe they just keep the ATVs and side-by-sides up there for when they're playing in the woods. They take a car up there and then play with those in the woods. I seen they had a lot of ATVs, and they have a lot of people to visit, and they have a lot of ATVs. All right, we're at 11.8, 11.9 battery. We're at 30 minutes, and we have 1.8 volts left to the battery. But at this point, the throttle, where we're now over 50% throttle to just hover and cruise around, the battery's gonna tank a lot faster. And the milliamp hours is like way off. When I charge these battery back, they take like 2,900 milliamps back. So that's way off. But on iNav, I can't get these current things to adjust right. My Firefly won't even read amperage, it reads backwards. So when you made it so it would read amperage, when you would give it throttle, the amps would go down. So I can't even use the milliamp and current sensor on the iNav. I just use it for where I normally it always like ends at. If I'm just cruising, it's the same amount, it's not going full throttle down, all that. If I'm cruising and I just know, okay, it always says I use 1600 milliamps. I know I'm at 800 milliamps. Let's probably start heading. Oh my god, it is fucking pouring rain. Holy shit. I guess I am not flying the drone. I was gonna take my little drone out. Alright, we're getting low on battery. There goes the neighbor. We're just slowly coming down, getting ready for a landing. And I have no omnis on. I only have patch antennas pointed at that mountain, but it still gets good reception going behind the house with two patch antennas on. Because I have flown behind the house with the DJI and two patch antennas on, and one's 15 dBi, 15 and a half, and the other one's 9 or 10 dBi. Oh no, the other one's 10 and a half dBi, I think is what it is. Or 13. Oh man, I gotta look that up again. Oh, it's 13 dBi, yeah. So one's 13, one's 15 and a half. Because I wanted to go 2.5 miles, and I thought it would help me overbeat that Wi-Fi tower that's there, but I guess not. We're at 32 and a half. It's a nice farmhouse. I did post a video using a 95X coming out from the field and into the house, and then through the house, showing the house. Should have got some video of the horses too, but I don't want the owners of the farm to be mad. At 9.8. Yeah, the drone did run for 9 minutes trying to get GPS. So this was a 33-minute flight. It wasn't crazy fast using a lot of power, but it also wasn't the most efficient flight. So I mean, they probably could have did a little more. But I was just going to the mountain and coming back, and then I started just cruising because I wanted to see what kind of flight time I can get. If I could beat it. But I need to try the 6S again, see what we can get. Just take the battery down the same amount, 2.4, 2.5 per cell. It comes back up to 3.0 a cell after the flight. Let's see what it gets for the 55, 25s. They're supposed to be more efficient. And then maybe I'll try some bigger batteries, maybe 4,000 milliamps. I got a 6,000, you know, and we'll see. It definitely has the power to carry the bigger batteries. You know, and then I can do some flights with a Go 2. I'll do some flights with SMO 4K. I'll do some flights with the GoPro. But it's a Rekon5 frame, built myself with a Z F7 2020, so I can put the iNav in it. The return to home works. The position hold works. It seems like only after I calibrate the compass, which you have to do it with the controller, away from any metal, away from your cell phone. Because I've gotten some bad calibrations with it. I've had a lot of trouble calibrating it. It doesn't ever seem to calibrate right if I have it plugged into USB. So I keep having to do with the controller, which is left stick up and right stick straight down, and then I can see the flight controller starts blinking different, and I'll flip it upways, I'll flip it sideways, in every direction. I just keep spinning it, having every direction face the floor. And then I test just basically looking at the arrow. Being DJI, you can't get a compass on the screen, so I just look at the arrow and make sure it's going good. And then return to home works. Position hold at that point will work, but if I don't calibrate the compass, position hold seems to. Maybe it's just because I move areas every time. I've been told that if you move areas, you're supposed to recalibrate the compass. I'm never flying from the same spot a lot of times, and it'll start toilet bowling. It'll get wider and wider circles slowly. But all right, well. So far, so good. Thank you for watching.